Welcome to Living on the Edge. My name is Chip Ingram, and we are wrapping up a series on relationships. And we're going to talk about maybe the most important relationship that you don't want to deal with. You know, we all get ripped off. We've all been hurt. What do you do with the evil that is aimed at you? What do you do with that person that when their name comes to your mind, the stomach acid begins to churn in your stomach? What do you do with that unresolved bitterness and hurt? The revolutionary that changed the entire course of this planet, Jesus, said, love your enemies. I don't know about you, but I can't do that. We're going to learn from the Apostle Paul how to put that in practice in ways where literally good will overcome evil. Stay with me. You don't want to miss this one. It's hard to rejoice with those who rejoice when they wounded you, isn't it? And at times, it is unhealthy, unwise, and inappropriate. But do you understand what I'm saying here? Or weeping with those who weep. What do you do when there's a death of a parent, or a friend, or a child, the loss of a job, a demotion, a troubled teen, a troubled marriage, a divorce, like after the one you went through, it happens again? See, everything in you wants to say, right? You know, the guy was a bum, or the lady was a bum. It didn't work with me. He did this. They got what they deserved. Thank you, Lord. Now, you know what? Justice is up to God. But mercy triumphs over justice. God will bring about justice. You'll never get a raw deal. But the prohibition here is you trying to bring about the justice. And can you imagine if they were in an auto accident or had cancer? If out of the blue, that boss that ripped you off, dying of cancer, hardened, the cusser, the liar, the manipulator, if you walked through the hospital door, said, Bob, it's been a few years. I heard you had cancer. My wife and I have been praying for you a lot. And I know there's some stuff between us. I want you to know I've completely forgiven you. And I just wondered if I could take a minute and pray for you. That's what this is talking about. Maybe you cry with them. You listen to them. You send them a note. You see, identification is the door of love. You don't barge your way in, but you let them know the door is open. You're not pushy. You're not self-righteous. You're not overly religious. And this is what we're doing because it says I'm supposed to bless. And by the way, I am on the upper here, and you are on the lower, and I'm the spiritual, and you're the scum, and I'm going to bless you. Right? Now, you know something? It's so easy to do that, isn't it? In fact, look at the very last verse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. You know, the live in harmony, that's a nice translation. I like the literal words. Be of the same mind toward one another. In other words, hey, you know what? Not you're the high-minded and they're the low-minded. And I love the last line, don't be conceited. And this is a hard one. This has been very, very difficult and painful for me. When we're attacked, and some things, I mean, if it happened to you as a kid, I'm really trusting that you're going to take this through an overall biblical grid. If you were abused as a child or something like this, of course it doesn't apply there. But in some of these adult to adult where you're wounded and things have happened, we tend to frame the picture of how it all happened, and it's like 100% all them and 0% us. And we are the good person with the white hat that loves God, and they're the devil with the black hat. That's an arrogant assessment. That's an arrogant assessment. When he says, do not be conceited. Don't assume. Now, you know, often I've used this phrase in dealing with very difficult situations, especially ones that are unresolved, by using a phrase that goes something like this. I want to share with you my perspective of this situation, not to be confused with the truth or reality. I know I have a bias. I know there's part of this that it's jaded and I have denial and I'm a fallen person. But from my perspective, when you took that money and when you lied to me or, you know, a falsehood misrepresentation, and then when you did this and this, I was deeply wounded and hurt. My perception is a great injustice has occurred. Do you understand the difference in that than you liar, and I'm the good guy, and you did this, and you did that, and, you know, I talked to all my friends, I'm a victim. Do you see what happened? See, I really struggled, even in the notes, blessing people, forgiveness, identification. I used the word association because I wanted to keep it consistent with behavior, but I struggled. You might write the word right next to it, humility. Because really, you bless people, it's with an attitude of humility. I have had to spend long hours with God alone in difficult situations saying, I know this happened, I know it's unfair, and the big picture is bad. Okay, now, Father, could you show me my part in this if I have a part? What lesson to learn? What unintended thing or intended thing? What secret thing? What issue in my heart? What in any way could I have been a part of this situation? I want to get right with you. I want to make anything, if it's 98% them, 2% me, I want to make the 2% right. Not that you blame, condemn, but you're open to hearing from God, because we tend to run very quickly to, it's all of them and none of us. And so there's a positive command. That person, first you forgive them, choice. Then you identify, if possible, and if safe. And then there's an association, there's a willingness that you're both human, you're both made in the image of God, that God is concerned. As I love, my wife read a quote somewhere, it says, God doesn't take sides. I love that. God doesn't take sides. God is just what's right. And we all have our perceptions. And he's sovereign, and he's control, and he will bring about what's right. Do you see how important faith is here? The issue of faith, you have to believe and know that he's really in control. And we're going to get to it in just a second. The reason it's so hard for me to do this first positive command is it feels like I'm letting them off the hook, and that's not fair, and they deserve ban because they did this to me, or they did it to my son, or they did it to my closest friend, or they did this to the church, or they did this to the company, and all the employees, and all the damage, and God, I can't. Yes, you can, by his power and strength and grace. Because here's the deal. Either you get to be God, or God gets to be God. Your choice. And you can carry the weight and the energy and the desire and justice has got to happen. Or you can say, makes no sense, Jesus, I don't need an out-of-body experience. I need an in-a-body experience. I need the present living Jesus Spirit in me. Give me the grace to forgive, forgiving, forgiven. God, you actually want me to write them a note and let them know I bless them, I'm praying for them. Okay. You don't have to feel it. And that's not being hypocritical. Love, remember, is a choice, giving another person what they need the most when they deserve it the least at great personal cost. And I'm not talking about hypocrisy. I mean, it's a genuine act of you want to bless them. But here's where there's some refuge. The negative command is don't take your own revenge. And what he's going to teach us as he does this is why. He's going to teach in verses 17 and 18 that personal retaliation is a prohibited response for God's people. And you say, well, where do you get that? Look at verse 17. Do not repay evil for evil to anyone. Now, any questions? They hurt me, I want... Any questions? Do not. I mean, is this like vague? Do not repay evil for anyone. Now, notice the conditions here. It says, be careful. Literally, it's take thought. It's the idea of take advanced thought for what is right in the eyes of everyone. In other words, it's this sense of what's helped me the most, even with the situation I had recently, when I was able to take thought. And I thought of this man's background, and I thought of his history spiritually, and I thought of where he's at in his life, and I thought of some major damage that's occurred to him recently. When I could take thought of what's right in his eyes, a lot of what he did to me made sense to him. Did it make it right? No. But boy, did it help me. You know, it's kind of that classic walk in someone else's moccasins or something like that. Put yourself in their shoes. It's so hard to do when we don't have any humility because we're the right and they're the wrong. It doesn't excuse it. It doesn't gloss over it. But if you can take thought, what would make a person do that in that situation? Everyone behaves in a way that makes sense to them. And most of the people that really wounded you, I mean, I will tell you, they could be interviewed right now, unless it's just so black and white. No, I really didn't do that. No, they just think, you know what? Actually, I put in a lot more hours, and I had the big ideas for the company, and that $2.5 million that I left with, it would really belong to me anyway. I'm telling you, it makes sense to them. It really does make sense to them. Well, you know, she didn't really love her husband, and he never really loved her, and, you know, I loved her. Okay, some people call it an affair, but, you know, we really loved each other, and I just got her out of a bad marriage. I didn't abuse that guy. Do you understand? It's not right. But it will help you begin to process. Don't take your own revenge. Don't take it to your hands. If possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with all men. This is not peace at any price. This isn't glossing over the truth. This isn't compromise. This says, if possible, if there is a way, if there's a common ground, live at peace. Do not take your own revenge, my beloved, literally, or my friends. And then here's your line. Okay, you ready? This is the part you need. Get your little pencils out. Get your pens out. And circle the phrase, but leave room for God's wrath. You get to be God, or God gets to be God. You make the choice. If you're God, you have all the weight, all the responsibility, all the stomach acid, all the unresolved issues, all the anger issues, all the things it does to you physically, all the things it does to you emotionally, and all the future relationships that will ruin. If you want to go that way, go ahead. Or you can supernaturally respond to evil. You're not going to pay back. You're going to try and understand as much as you can. And then you're going to release them. And you're going to say, you know what? God is absolutely loving, forgiving, merciful, and just. And every person will stand either in this life or in the next. No one gets a raw deal. And the definition of justice is, the core term is retribution. We don't like that. You get retributed for good, and you get retributed for bad. That's why Jesus had to go to the cross, because the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God. If we got what we deserve, no one would stand. But I will tell you that people who have hurt you and wounded you and sinned and are evil, and people that abuse kids, and people that blow up with a bomb on them, innocent people at a bus stop, I will tell you, there is a just, eternal, sovereign, loving God, and there will be a judgment, and you don't want to be there when they get what they receive. But you know what you can do is, you rest in that. You be the judge. I turned them over to you. My job is to bless and give mercy as I've received it. Your job is to do what's right. And then he says, he gives it Old Testament passage, he says, for it's written, it's mine to avenge, I will repay, says the Lord. You can take that as a promise. Because there's something in your psyche and something in my psyche that, you know, it's just hard to, that's a raw deal. I mean, that's a raw deal. Okay, Chip, I got it. It's a raw deal. Give me the ball. Literally, pass it to me. I'll take this shot. It's a raw deal. It's a raw deal. It's a raw deal. Here you go, Lord. And he catches it and says, this is a slam dunk for me. Vengeance is mine. I will repay. In the right way, at the right time, with full knowledge of the entire situation, with the thoughts and motives laid bare before. There's other stuff you don't even understand. I'm operating in the world now. My desire is to extend mercy and to forgive and to love. And I've poured out my wrath on my son Jesus, not only for the sins that he committed against you, but the ones you committed against other people. But I will bring about justice. Pass me the ball. From this day forward, I'll take care of it.